Virgo ascendant, Virgo rising. How the heck are you? This is G with All Astrology. Glad to be here with you. I am so honored to be touching in with your frequency grid. How is the month of September going for you, Virgo? It's Virgo season. It is Virgo time. The sun is in Virgo. Mercury is in Virgo. It is everything Virgo. And what is Virgo? We're going to go through that. We're going to dive deep into the Virgo energies. Now, I realize that if you're here, you may just have a Virgo birthday. Recognize your birthday is your sun sign. A birthday is a sun sign. And when I say it's a sun sign, it simply means it is the degree of your sun. So a great example is the full moon of September. September's full moon, the sun will be at 10 degrees of Virgo energy. Got to put the sacred sage down. The sun will be at 10 degrees of Virgo. The moon will be at 10 degrees of Pisces. All right, so when we have the sun and the moon opposite of each other, we call that an opposition. The opposition creates the full moon. Sun and moon opposite of each other. 10 degrees Virgo, if you have a birthday on September 1st, this means you are a Virgo sun sign, not a Virgo rising sign. The rising sign has to do with your birth time and the location of that birth, the timing of the events that will happen. And we know that because the rising sign is your physical body. It's the location of your body on the earth at the time of your birth. And the effect, the radiation, the emanations from the planetary bodies and how they affect where you are physically located. In astrology, there's this material, tangible, physical, but there's also the non-physical, the non-tangible, and that is the spiritual element. That is the psychological element, the thinking, our emotions and our feelings. And that's when we can pull in our moon sign. To not go too deep, but to try to focus in on, if you're a Virgo sun sign, this is a big deal for the full moon of September. And that happens right at the front end of September. Hopefully you'll be able to see this video by then. If not, the video for September full moon was already put out in August. I'll attach that below because the beginning of September is big for earth signs. And as a Virgo sun, you are a Virgo, which is an earth sign. A Virgo is a mutable earth sign. Mutable meaning changeable, flexible. I like variety. I can go this way, I can go that way. Hey, I'm flexible. That's mutable. Being a Virgo, it's all about being practical, logical, thinking, because Mercury is your ruler. Having Mercury as your ruler is pretty cool, actually, because Mercury is the thinker. It's also known as the messenger of the gods. When Mercury's working on a high level, you're getting knowledge and information coming through that isn't your own. You have these unique insights into things, but you can see the details. You can see how 2 + 2 = 4. You can see how things can add up. You can connect the dots. You see how things make sense because you can see the steps that it took to get there. That's what makes Virgo so unique and so beautiful. Out of all the signs in the zodiac, it is this ability to connect the dots. It is the ability to be a great troubleshooter, meaning, okay, this isn't working, but because the mind is so flexible and changeable and the ability to see multiple degrees and multiple perspectives of things, you can then say, well, let's try this. So it's fascinating how Virgo energy works. And Virgos being the troubleshooter, being almost the jack of all trades because of Mercury being their ruler. Hands, big mercurial thing. It also rules the sign of Gemini. And so there's lots of commonalities between that Virgo and that Gemini energy. They're both mutable signs, and this is key. Flexible, changeable, mutable. Communication and thinking and speaking and talking and relating is a big deal. Touching in with siblings, important. Gemini, Virgo, friends, peers, siblings, right? It all falls into that same bucket. Schoolmates. Virgo season, or any season for the zodiac, begins when the sun moves into that sign. At the third, or at the first/second, we already have the sun at 10 degrees, okay? Now, a lot of things happen this month, okay? So we're going to go through that, but recognize that the physical manifestations and timings of those cycles are specific to the ascendant sign. However, they could affect your sun sign. And so if something affects your sun sign, it means it will affect your ability to express and your ability to shine, your ability to radiate. Think about what the sun is. The sun is our vitality. It is our energy. It is how we are alive. It is that spirit which resides within us. Think of the sunlight beaming down. What does the sunlight do? We see exactly what it does when we pay attention to nature, right? We see the flowers in the morning, and when the sun isn't even up yet, the flowers are closed. But when the sun starts to rise, what happens? The flowers start to open, and they can even turn their head to face the sun. You see the plants in the vegetable garden. You see the trees growing, facing the sunlight, right? The sun literally feeds them, and so they look up to the sun. So if your sunlight has dimmed in some way, then others in your life around you are not looking towards you. They're not looking at you. They're not coming to you and seeking, right? They're not looking at you and thinking, oh, wow, I feel like I need to talk to you about something. There's something you have that can feed me in some way. There's something that you radiate that can help illuminate me, that can help increase my light. And so when we talk about the sun and a sun sign, if your sun sign is being squared or angled roughly, then what happens is your light literally diminishes a little bit. And so understanding this is just all temporary is a big deal. It's a big help, especially individuals who may have conditions in which they were born with, where depression or, just heavy emotions at times, especially during 2020, right? This is that time. Great stress, great testing, the ability to understand what our place of peace is and our calmness, and to know how to nurture ourselves. Virgo, everything. Virgo energy for the month of September. We're even going to dump a little bit further into the following month because some things happen at the end of this month that are going to be important. Thinking, communicating, relating, wants to be organized, is organized, sees things and says, hey, that saying, there's a place for everything and a thing for every place. That is a Virgo motto. Okay, this is where this lives, meaning if you take it from there, it needs to go back there. That's Virgo energy. Very likes to make sure things are organized because in that way, it's connecting the dots. It's saying this makes sense. That's why this should be here, right? I mentioned in last month's video for Virgo, Frank Lloyd Wright. I can remember the name now. My Mercury's working a little bit better. Frank Lloyd Wright was this great architect, and what he had the ability to do was to incorporate his unique style and vision with functionality, with making sure that if we put something here, it should have a function, it should have a purpose. It shouldn't just be there because it looks good. It should also serve some sort of way in which it could add convenience to your life. It had a purpose to it. And so Virgos, the word purpose is really important. This is key. Virgos are all about having a purpose, serving, having a purpose to serve. There should be some end to what they're doing. I mean, think about that. It's very logical, actually, when you think about them and having the ability to connect the dots. When you can connect the dots, you get to a goal, right? There's this end in sight. There's this reason in sight. There's this purpose in sight. And so Virgos being able to have a system set up, whether it's their thinking, whether it's things around in the home. And I keep bringing up in the home because Virgo energy is domestic energy. All right. Virgo energy is that sixth house in someone's chart. Your sixth house is your domestic life. All right. It's your day-to-day routines. So if you're not working, if you're at home, it's those routines within the house. If you are working, it's work projects. So Virgo energy, like there's a lot of strong Virgos that I've met here in the YouTube community. And boy, the Virgos who work at home, wow, they are very organized. They literally work from home, like they're online doing stuff. But even if they weren't doing that, if you were to go into their homes or if you watch some of their videos, like how Lainey lives, she's got some strong Virgo qualities. She is like this Virgo queen, like the Virgos gardening, right? Because hands, anything with the hands, she's extremely crafty. She is a great example of Virgo energy operating at a high level. With that said, being very crafty, being very hands-on, paper mache, sewing, knitting, weaving, arts and crafts, like making things, like Martha Stewart energy, totally Virgo energy. But at the same time, like I said, the whole gardening thing, anything, think of it, right? Be creative, be outside of the box. And that's where the sun energy comes in. The sun energy is all about your ability to be unique. I shine, right? You shine. This person shines. But if we all shine, if the lights all look the same, nothing stands out. But the sun energy is about, even though we all shine, what is it that makes each individual unique? Now, I'm talking about the sun a lot in this Virgo reading because At one time, back in the day, the ancient astrologers believed that the sun, which is Leo, and Virgo, which is the Mercury, they believed at one time that they were together, that they were literally one sign, that they were talked about and referred to as one. And later, as time went on, they divided them and they split them apart. And they said, you know, the Virgo's got this ability to be unique and shine and be different, but at the same time, it's not as expressive as just the pure sun energy. And so there was this division made for whatever reason. And there's also a belief that in the future, those two signs will come back together and merge as one again. Once there is a compatibility achieved, once there is a equilibrium and a fairness and an ability to compromise is accomplished. So the Virgo energy is also has that ability to shine with its craftiness, right? With its ingenuity, with its ability to be not just great in the home, but also in the professional sense, because Virgos love to serve. There is this sense of, if I'm doing this, it's not specifically just for me, but it does serve a higher purpose. So I'm talking about this in depth because with Virgo qualities, it is very easy to sacrifice for the greater good for all involved. And when the greater good for all involved isn't done by others, peers, that could be by people, coworkers, that could be by, you know, anybody in your life, especially people who you were involved with in some way in projects, because Virgos are the queen of projects. They have these great ideas, okay, let's begin this project. And if they don't, they immediately got to have backup projects ready to go, so that when we're done with this one, we've got this other one to go to, because that's what makes a Virgo feel good. They like to be doing things. And so they have these little projects set up. And this is a great outlet, especially for 2020. So as a Virgo, whether you're a Virgo sun, a Virgo rising, a Virgo moon, anything Virgo is going to feed you. All right, anything Virgo. So all these Virgo things, crafts, things to think about. So now it doesn't just have to be about the hands, but then there's got to be a time where you feed the mind. All right, feeding the mind is really important for a Virgo. And what I found, lots of Virgos, whether they're a Virgo sun or a Virgo rising, actually I know someone who's both, what happens is there is this overproductive mind power, right? Because they're this Virgo sun, they're the Virgo rising, so Mercury's working hard, the sun's working hard. There is this synergistic combining that goes on, this homogenizing almost, where the thinking never turns off. And this is very common with people who have, it doesn't mean specifically you have to be a Virgo birthday, but there's some strong tendencies. And so what happens is if the mind doesn't shut off, it's almost like you have to wear the mind out, right? It's a muscle. And so if it doesn't get stimulated enough during the day, if it doesn't get worn out enough, if it doesn't get used, it's like that workhorse or work dog or whatever it is, right? They're high energy. And so if the energy doesn't get used up, it will find other ways to use that energy. And so typically what happens with Virgos when they don't find ways to use that energy, it's not just about not being able to sleep at night, because then that rolls over into the next day of, okay, I'm low on sleep. This other thing happens, right? The mind is overworking. And this is where the critical, overcritical, this over-analytical stuff comes in with Virgo energy. And then it becomes this low expression of that energy. And the low expression is, I see the details, I get bogged down in the details, I start looking and analyzing and nitpicking the details with others in my life. Has this ability to over nitpick and over criticize themselves in their own lives, right? Whether it's, I didn't do enough today, I didn't get this done, or I did this, but I didn't do it very well. Understand that that is a low expression of your Virgo energy. That is because there is this power to overanalyze. There is this mind that's not shutting down. And so there's a time, a place, and it's now. If you haven't been doing it, it's definitely 2020. Learn how to incorporate more of a nurturing sense, more of a way of honing in on what it is you did accomplish, what it is you did do. Not, okay, I didn't do this, or I did a bad job at this. What did I do and what did I do a good job at? We all have these times in our lives when we go there and it's not so hot. What we want to do is recognize them. It's not bad because you went there. It's not so great when you go there and you allow yourself to stay there. It's recognizing that you went there, but then pulling yourself back in to here, to the heart center, understanding that there is that part of yourself that thought it could stand outside of you and criticize. And you don't want that to happen. And if it does, you want to be able to recognize it and to pull it back in and say, hey, come on back here. You need a little bit of nurturing. You need a little bit of love. You need a little bit of acceptance. And you need a little bit of understanding. You need a little bit of someone to say, hey, slow your roll. Be a little bit more kind. Understand that we are all just trying to make it through 2020. Being divisive, being thinking of just separation and nitpicking and pulling things apart isn't going to help. It's going to add to the pressure and to the tension. And so what we have to each do in our own lives is figure out what works for us. And this leads me into the second point for you, Virgo, which is even though you have the sun and Mercury in your sign, we have the planet Venus at the butt end of Cancer energy. Okay. And so at the beginning of September, we have Venus creating receiving a beautiful trine at, the butt end of August, beginning of September, setting up a nice trine with the planet Neptune. And so this is supportive and beautiful. At the same time, we have Venus talking to Mercury and they're having a nice conversation. So what's happening is Venus, the sister of Mercury, is saying, hey, you need to do this for yourself. Take some time out for you. And so you should do it. You should take that advice. Definitely take it and remember it. Don't let it go, meaning don't do it just this one time and not revisit it again for another year or 3 years. No. What you're finding out at this time, Virgo, what you're finding out at this time is that Venus is saying, hey, you need to do this. This will help to maintain emotional stability. And emotional stability for 2020 is huge for everybody. Let me say that again. Emotional stability for 2020 is huge for everybody. So what I want you to kind of embrace and hold on to here is recognizing that this little nugget, this thing that you were told, this little bit of information that came through for you, and it's going to come through because it's Mercury and the sun in Virgo, the sun in Virgo, getting a perfect trine from the planet Uranus. So you're getting information that's coming in, right? And it's information that's going to help you, whether it's in your physical world, as far as health routines, health habits, work projects, health projects. It's Virgo energy. And it's Uranus from Taurus coming through. And Uranus and Taurus, it's that what I value, what I need, what I love, who I love. And Venus in Cancer, which is my emotions. So there's this wonderful synchronistic energy occurring, right? It's Venus in Cancer, Uranus in Taurus, and Taurus's ruler is Venus. So there's this conversation, this ease of conversation and communication. So it's not just conversation and communication, but there's understanding that's occurring. And these are things that are coming in to you from the universe. Is your antenna up? Are you tuned into that frequency? That's only for you to know because we each have free will. Remember what I was saying back before. It's a matter of understanding. We need to, the higher we can raise our vibration, because those vibrations that are coming through are very high. All right, they're all the way up there. So if you can get your frequencies up there, then you hear more of what's up. But if your frequencies are down here, then you hear more of what's down here. You operate at this level. So you get to choose what level you operate at. Nobody here is saying, well, that's the bad level. That's the low level. That's the nasty level. No one here is saying that. This is simply a matter of you have the ability to choose. You be the creator of your own life. This is where your free will comes into play. You choose what level you're going to be at. What level you choose to operate at is yours. So Uranus and Venus and Mercury having a beautiful conversation. This synergistic communication is in group energy. So this could be friends. It shows that in your 11th house, so this could be information coming through on the internet, because the 11th house is the internet. When you operate in a group of any kind, family is definitely a group because you've got Cancer energy there. So mom energy is there as well in the group. But at the same time, anybody else that you pull into your life that's part of your family, that you consider part of your community, internet community, whatever that may be, however you operate in groups. It is also the synergistic energy coming in from your Taurus energy, Uranus and Taurus. So this is in your 9th house. So this is your 1st house, your 9th house, and your 11th house. Your 9th house is your beliefs, what I believe. It's my opinions, okay? You've got Taurus energy there, so it's what I believe is a value. What I believe, who I believe I love. 9th house is also the house of the publisher, It's the ability to take something that you value. It's your tangible material assets, but it is also the essence of love, loving myself. Ninth house energy is also the higher learning house, right? It's the ability to take something that you're getting in from the mind of God. It's a deeply spiritual house. So having Taurus energy there, if you can lift that up, this is going to be super sweet because Uranus is there, right? Uranus is at 10 degrees there for you, Virgo. Ninth house is a very, very spiritual house placement. It's very expansive. It's typically it's the realm of Jupiter normally, right? Because the ninth house is Sagittarian energy, is Jupiter energy, but you have Taurus energy there. So there is a love for this higher knowledge. There is a love for continuing education. There is a love to keep learning, being inquisitive and wanting to keep on going and elevating intellectually and getting information in. So if your antenna is in tune, you know what I'm talking about. You know well because you already get the information before I even share it with you. You already got the information. You're like, yeah, I knew that before you were going to say it. It's that kind of a thing for you, Virgo. Remember, this is Virgo Ascendant, Virgo Rising specifically, because when I talk about these house placements, it has to do with your birth time. So if you don't know that and you want to know that, put your birth digits in, birth date, birth time, birth place. I can get the accurate information for you because you very well may be that, but you could be a different sign. And that's perfectly good because you want to listen to the more accurate, the more close rising sign for who you are. This synergistic thing is happening for the first part of the month of September. There's also going to be some beautiful trine information setting up with your Capricorn energy. Your Capricorn energy is in your fifth house. Capricorn energy in the fifth house. Your fifth house is your children. It's your ability to create. So creative projects, your creative endeavors. They're going to be material and tangible though. All right. So that's why, like if somebody is Capricorn, it's all about the material, the tangible. Like this wouldn't be, when we think of creating, a lot of people immediately think, oh, someone's painting, right? Well, paintings are typically flat. Not that that's not tangible. I just dropped my super duper favorite thing, the lighters. I love my lighters, but this is a new lighter. Look what it does. Virgos would be more of a tangible because when they've got the Capricorn energy, it's first of all, let's break down your fifth house. Your fifth house Capricorn. Capricorn is work routines, right? Because it's a work project, but it's a tangible material thing. So it's typically your professional work, right? Because it's something that is going to somehow give you financial stability. That's Capricorn, financial stability. So it's how you express your best. It's how you want to show up in the world. So there is this essence of that fifth house energy and being professional, doing something professional with children. Now, fifth house is also being physically active with children. This is beautiful. I like this because this is also, the fifth house being all about sports, physical activity, but Capricorn energy is about I'm in charge. It's the boss energy. So I can be the boss of children, but being physically active with children, right? This is like a PE teacher, totally, right? Now, it doesn't have to be that. You have free will. I would not be surprised, but there's also lots of other things, lots of other ways people can be physically active with children. But this is very much because it's Capricorn. You can be very structured. You can be very good at setting up structures and activities for children. This I love. Like this, I would love to see somebody with a Virgo Ascendant, Virgo Rising taking this bull by the horns, so to speak, and running with this. And I'm saying this because for the month of September, this is a time of where you've been thinking about stuff, Virgo, where you've had these ideas. This is tangible time. This is tangible time because Mercury at 24 degrees at the beginning, a few days later, right? Mercury is going to be right here at the beginning of the month, Mercury's already receiving an exact trine from Saturn in Capricorn. So this is in your fifth house, right? And we also have Pluto in your fifth house. We also have Jupiter in your fifth house. So we have this concrete, tangible, material earth energy lining up for everybody. So in your life, Virgo, this is your ascendant, this is your fifth house, and this is your ninth house. I believe I can do this for work. It's number 1, number 5, number 9. So your fifth house, your ninth house, right? The ninth house is the house of a teacher. It is a guru, which is like the teacher of the teachers. That's the ninth house. So it's understanding how to incorporate that earth energy, how to make it work. And you're getting information. Trust what you're getting right now. Trust this information that you're getting because it's Saturn and Mercury talking intimately. And so this is what I'm really loving, because pretty soon Mercury is going to move pretty fast, actually. So when we get to the, actually like the 9th I have here, where is it? Yeah, actually a lot happens on the 9th. When we get to September 9th, keep your ears open. What you're going to see happen is Mercury is going to leave the sign of Virgo and it dips into the sign of Libra. All of a sudden, it becomes about partnerships and relationships. It doesn't have to be, like I love you partnerships, but it can be business partnerships. All right, Mercury starts moving into that right there at the 9th. Now, also on the same day, Mars is going backwards, right? So like March, September 8th, September 9th, Mars stands still. When a planet stands perfectly still, its power becomes very strong. This is happening in your Aryan energy. So your Aryan energy, Virgo, is in your 8th house. Your 8th house is your bonded relationships. You're very emotionally connected to these people in deep ways. So what you want to understand here is that it's powerful. It's emotionally powerful. If Mars is standing still, that means intense time. Emotional intensities will rise with people that you're very close to, people that you feel like, hey, we bond, right? We energetically bond, we emotionally bond. They're fiery, I'm fiery. We're both starters. We like to do things. We like to get right to it. There is an intensification of energy. And if there's anything in your personal chart that would square this, right? This is like 28 degrees of cardinal energy. So in your own chart, if you know astrology, or if you know a little bit about astrology, what you're looking for is to see if you have anything at 28 degrees in Libra energy. That would be the opposition, because it'll send a beam of energy down that way. And when I say Libra, that's relationships, so be aware of that. So for you, that relationship energy, just so you know, a heads up, that relationship energy is automatically going to be over in your 2nd house of money. Your Libra energy is in your 2nd house. And your 2nd house is your income. And so your income is dependent. Your income is dependent on your significant one-on-one relationships. I want you to think about that, Virgo ascendant. In other words, if you can make sure that you can have significant one-on-one relationships, and that doesn't mean necessarily marriage partnerships, all right? It just means have the ability to create business partnerships, because that's what that is. That's what Libra is. It's all about partnerships, period. Flow of income, it's dependent on you being able to have this compromising attitude with those who either sign the paycheck or who you are dependent upon in some way of getting paid. So whether you're equal partners, would be ideal because it's Libran energy, right? Things being fair and balanced is going to be very important to you. Like that is a great value of yours. But understanding that not everybody has Libra in their 2nd house. So not everybody sees how things should be fair and balanced as easily as you will. You're going to see this very easily. But not everybody has this. So you will have to learn to really be the diplomat and to be able to understand when to pick and choose battles. This would be important, okay? Because your money depends on it. Your moolah depends on it. So as we get through the month of September for you, what's going to happen, your Mercury going into your 2nd house, this is getting more information and being able to set up communications with those in ways of making money. You were getting the information at the beginning of September. As September moves on, it's starting to grow. All right, there's this growth happening. Like things are finally moving. And things are finally moving because also in this month, we are going to have Jupiter standing still on the 12th of September, and then moving direct. And then we're going to have Mars, I already mentioned that, Mars standing still on the 9th, but also at the very end of the month, Saturn will go direct. Saturn will stand still and go direct. The beginning of the month of September is huge for you because things are changing. Things are moving. You have a grand Earth trine. Be awake. Be listening. Be alert. This is areas of your life about how to make money, how to forge ahead, how to make relationships work so that you can have an income stream involving things that you're good at, something that actually makes sense for you. Be sure that as the time goes on, that you come back to this video and comment below and give me an update, Virgo. I want to know.